What's up, guys? Matt Brown here for PlayPicks.com, coming to you on a playoff Saturday, looking at this wild card game here between the Seahawks and Cowboys. Going to be a great game, going to be a fun one. But first and foremost, guys, thank you. We did get to 1,000 subscribers. Now we got to get to 2, 3, 5, 10, whatever it might be. But really appreciate you guys hitting that subscribe button down below. And if you haven't already, please do so. Give us a thumbs up as well. And also in the comments, let us know how you're going to play this game. We always look into what you guys are doing and how things are going on your end when you're playing in these games as well. And, you know, really getting to 1,000 subscribers, I really can't state enough how much it just shows that you guys appreciate what we're doing with this channel here. Look, we're not here screaming up and down about locks of the century. That's not what we're going to be doing here. We're trying to give you as much information as humanly possible so that you can make the decision that you want to make in these games, that you can take where you were leaning in the first place and find something along the way that helps confirm what you're looking to do here. And, you know, these videos, it's not like a lot of the stuff you're going to find out there where people are, you know, basically just hop on a camera and in 3 minutes they're, you know, telling you something that has absolutely no reason or basis or bias behind it whatsoever, where, you know, we're spending hours of research here trying to dig up some stuff that maybe can help you pick a winner somewhere along the way. So really appreciate you guys doing all that stuff. And since we hit that, look in that description down below. There's going to be a link to a contest on DraftKings. Our friends at DraftKings, we have a link to a free roll DFS contest that goes live on Sunday morning where you can win a free entry to the $10,000 buy-in DraftKings Sports Betting National Championship. Now, this is going down next weekend over in New Jersey, so you will have to make the trip over there, but the package includes travel money and everything like that. So you can win a free $10,000 entry into this. First place is $1 million in this contest. In the description below, there's a link to the contest where you can enter absolutely free. We're doing this for you guys. Our friends at DraftKings helped us out with all this, so please continue to support the channel. Hit that subscribe button, comment away, let us know everything that's going on here. All right, guys, taking a look here. This is going to be played in Jerry's World. It's in the Dome. No weather concerns. Don't have to worry about that at all as we take a look here. Of course, we'll be looking over at DraftKings. We'll be looking at BetStars, and we'll be looking over at FanDuel as well as far as the odds and things here in just a second. Scroll up a little bit here so you can kind of take a look at what we got going on. Seahawks 10-6 on the season, 6-2 at home, 4-4 on the road, 10-5-1. Against the spread. They've won 6 of their last 7 games. They did struggle and obviously did not cover in that game last week. 27-24 win against the Cardinals for this Seahawks team here. Cowboys 10-6 on the season, 7-1 at home, 3-5 on the road, 9-6-1 against the spread for this team. They won 7 of the last 8 games, closing out the season here. Won outright as dogs last week. Of course, they sat a bunch of starters against the Giants team, which swung that line towards the Giants, but they ended up winning outright, including Ezekiel Elliott didn't play in that game. They won anyway against the Giants here. Scroll a little bit here. Of course, you can always head to playpicks.com where you'll hit the full write-up here that Nate Weitzer writes down. So good breakdown of all of that. And of course, if you want the free money, we have the best offer on the internet at DraftKings. DKPicks.com, $35 absolutely free if you sign up over there. Scroll down. We'll take a look at where this was. This article was written, of course, like last night. Published early this morning, so you can see these lines here. We'll click through and take a look. This line has moved to 2.5 over here. Has moved to 2.5 over here on DraftKings. Over here on BetStars, we're looking at 2. So we have 2 over here on BetStars, and over here on FanDuel, 2.5. Over here on FanDuel, we got 42.5 on FanDuel. We're looking at 43.5. So a full point difference over here on BetStars. So depending on how you feel about the total there, of course, do a little shopping, and then 43.5 as well over here on DraftKings with all of this. About 51% of the money, 51% of the bet, 60% of the money on the Cowboys to cover in this one. Of course, Cowboys, a very popular team with the public, a very popular team to be bet on, one of the top teams that's bet every single year. 67% of the bet, 69% of the money is on the over so far in this game. Scroll down and let you take a look at some of this article as we get going here. You can read along if you want to. On the injury front, Cowboys rested their left tackle Tyron Smith and right guard Zach Martin last week. Both of those guys should be healthy and ready to go. Did get some rest there for Ezekiel Elliott last week as well. They could be without a defensive tackle, Tyrone Crawford, but that's really the only injury looking at there. On the Seahawks side, J.R. Sweezy, he's their left guard. He is questionable in this one, but no one of note that is already ruled out for this. On the offensive side of the ball for the Seahawks, they are averaging 26.8 points per game. That is 8th best in the NFL, 18th in total yards, averaging 353.3 yards per game. 8th in red zone touchdown percentage, so when they get inside the 20 down there, they are actually getting it in the end zone pretty often. 2nd in rush attempts, 1st in rush yards, and 5th in rush yards per attempt. Yes, this Seattle Seahawks team loves to run the ball, and they've actually done it very effectively so far this season. 32nd in pass attempts. Yes, there are only 32 teams in the NFL. That means they are dead last in pass attempts. 27th in pass yards, but they are 11th in pass yards per attempt. So they don't throw the ball very often, but when they do, they're pretty good at it. I mean, upper third in the league as far as yards per attempt. They are converting 38.9% of third downs. That is 17th in the league, so kind of right in the middle of the league there, just slightly below dead center of the league there. On the offensive line, 27th graded run blocking unit according to Pro Football Focus, 17th graded pass blocking unit. I'll scroll down a little bit further if you want to keep reading along on the article, but on the Cowboys offensive side of the ball, 21.2 points per game. That is actually 22nd in the NFL. We'll talk about why that might be here in just a second. It's 22nd in total yards, averaging 343.8 yards per game. 29th in the league in red zone touchdown percentage. So we just got to the 21.2 points per game. Yeah, they're 29th in red zone touchdown percentage. So they're getting into the red zone and they're settling for field goals. They're not being able to get this ball into the end zone, which could be something if you want to tuck that away for later whenever you start to make your bets. 10th in rush attempts, 10th in total rush yards as well, 14th in rush yards per attempt. So they're running the ball well, as you would expect there. 21st in pass attempts, 23rd in total pass yards, 20th in pass yards per attempt. Now, these are season statistics that we're reading off here. And of course, they made that trade for Amari Cooper in the middle of the season. So of course, gotten a lot better in the pass offense since they traded for Amari Cooper. And even Michael Gallup there has gotten some games under his belt and certainly has developed a little bit better rapport with Dak Prescott in that offense. So this passing game has gotten better, certainly over the course of the season. They are converting 41.4% of their third downs. That's good for 10th in the NFL. Offensive line grades, 9th best run blocking unit, 20th best pass blocking unit. If we're worrying about pace in this game here, guys, Seattle 26th, Dallas 24th, two very deliberate, slow-paced teams in this game. They are 6th and 8th in the league in time of possession as well. So there's ball hogs, right? They just want to play a ball hog style of play. On the defensive side of the ball, Seahawks defense here, averaging 21.7 points game allowed. That is 11th in the NFL, 14th overall DVOA, 17th overall according to Pro Football Focus. They're allowing 353 yards per game. That is 16th in the NFL, so right there in the center of the league. Giving up 113.2 rush yards per game. That is 13th in the NFL, of course, going against this Dallas team. Something to keep in mind. 30th in rush yards per attempt, however. They're giving up 4.9 yards per carry, nearly 5 yards per carry. Hello, Ezekiel Elliott. Yeah, against this rush defense, you can expect to see a lot of Ezekiel Elliott here. 23rd graded pass rush, 12th graded pass coverage unit. I underestimated this secondary this year. I thought it was going to be brutal, and they have actually played very, very well there in Seattle. 17th in pass yards per game allowed, 19th in pass yards per attempt allowed. They are allowing their opponents to convert 34.9% of third downs. That's actually 5th best in the entire league in getting their opponents off the field on third down. And as far as individual matchups go, they are graded 21st against running backs. So we talked about, obviously this Dallas team wants to run the ball, and you've got a team that's giving up nearly 5 yards per carry. And then you got a team that, according to Pro Football Focus, kind of in that bottom tier in the league as far as covering running backs as well. I'll continue to scroll a little bit if you want to read along. Dallas Cowboys defense, they are allowing 20.3 points per game. That is 6th best in the NFL, 9th overall DVOA, 11th overall according to Pro Football Focus. So this Cowboys defense really getting it done here, allowing 329.2 yards per game. That is 7th best in the National Football League, giving up just 94.6 rush yards per game. That is 5th best in the NFL. They're just giving up 3.8 yards per attempt. That is also 5th best. And this is against a Seattle team that runs the ball more than anybody in the NFL. So it's going to be what Seattle wants to do versus what the Cowboys are really good at here. 12th graded pass rush, 5th graded pass coverage unit, 13th in pass yards per game allowed, 15th in pass yards per attempt allowed. Now, if there is an Achilles heel to this defense, it's third downs for this Cowboys team. They are allowing their opponents to convert 42.3% of third downs so far this season. That's actually 27th in the league. So way, way down there. They just can't get their opponents off the field on third down despite being so good, really top to bottom. They are top 10 versus quarterbacks, running backs, and wide receivers as far as individual matchups go. So this is a very, very good defense. Again, just the one thing they can't do for whatever reason seems to be getting their opponents off the field on third down. So let's make a case for the over in this one. Let's say you're looking at this and you want to bet the over here. So let's start with the obvious, right? We're talking about a 42.5 point total. In today's NFL, a 42.5 point total is a very, very low total. So listen, you got a Seattle team that's averaging nearly 27 points per game. You have a Dallas team that's averaging a little over 21 points per game. Even if they just get their season average, obviously you're blowing away this 42.5 point total. Dallas could just run all over Seattle here. You know, if we're looking kind of at a way that this could get over, I mean, we talked about this. You've got Ezekiel Elliott, one of the very best running backs in the entire league. And then you have a team that gives up 5 yards per carry. So maybe Dallas just has their way with them on the ground and still just scores. And maybe there's some regression, you know, back up from the not being able to get in the end zone on in the red zone, which is one of their big problems here. That could be a way that this thing could get over. And listen, you could look at this thing as well, that Seattle just does not find any success running the ball against this Cowboys defense that, as we mentioned, has been very, very good against the run so far this year. So they have to abandon that game plan. They don't run the ball and they have to take to the air and they have to start throwing. And we mentioned if there was kind of an Achilles heel here, the Dallas Cowboys giving up a lot of third down conversions here. And so maybe they can move the ball through the air. That certainly lengthens the game, right? Because incompletion stop the clock. So maybe that is another way that this game could get over here. I mean, this Dallas pass defense over the past 5 or 6 weeks has certainly shown to be a little bit shaky here. No doubt about that. And finally, just turnovers could be another way that this game could get over here. I mean, both teams are in the top half of the league as far as takeaways per game. And then you're also looking at a Seattle Seahawks team that actually has the best turnover margin plus minus in the NFL. So that's one way, you know, again, turnovers create short fields, easier points, things like that. So let's make a case for the under here. I'll scroll up a little bit further if you want to keep on reading. Case for the under, pretty obvious here. 2 very heavy run focused teams. No team in the NFL ran the ball more than the Seattle Seahawks did this year, and you still have the Dallas Cowboys who want to run the ball and establish a ground game with Ezekiel Elliott. So you are looking at the Seattle team led the league with 160 rush yards per game. What does that do? It keeps the clock running. Both the teams towards the bottom of the league in pass attempts. Dallas was 21st in pass attempts. Seattle was dead last in pass attempts. So Russell Wilson, if you look at his last 5 games, 17, 20, 31, 29, and 21 pass attempts. In today's NFL, that is just nothing. No pass attempts whatsoever. So if he's not throwing the ball very much, then he's not having not a lot of opportunity for incompletions either, which just keeps that clock tick, 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 tick. Could be the case for the under here. Both of these teams, as we mentioned, like to play that ball hogging style. Both of these teams are averaging over 51% time of possession so far this year. Of course, something's got to give there. They both can't have over 51% time of possession in this game. However, for the season, both of them were holding the ball much more than their opponent was. And so, again, just a ball hogging style. That's the way they like to do, play slow, things like that. And frankly, look, we just got 2 good defenses overall. I mean, I read you the stats already when we were looking at these 2 defenses. I mean, top to bottom, both of these defenses are pretty damn good. And so, I mean, you got a Seahawks team They gave up 30 or more points just 3 times all season. And the reason I used that number of 30 points, because I mean, we see a lot of 30-point games, but the reason that I chose this one, because the teams that they gave up the 30 points to, the Rams twice and the Chiefs once, arguably top 3 offenses in the league. Maybe you mix the Saints in there or something like that. So that is the only time that this defense got nicked up here. And if you look on the Cowboys side, they got dinged for more than 24 points. They gave up 24 points a couple of different times, but more than 24 points 2 times all year. Once was just last week when they were resting a bunch of starters. So again, 2 good defenses here, 2 teams that like to play slow, 2 teams that want to focus on the run game. Could be a reason for the under in this one as well. Now, if you looking at player props here, if you think this is going to be kind of a dirty, gross game, something like that, then any passing and receiving props, you're probably going to be looking towards the under in this thing. So unless it's with a running back, of course, with like Zeke. But if you're looking at any wide receivers, tight ends, different things, stuff like that, if you think this is kind of going to be an under game, a dirty game, just kind of like 2 hard-nosed defenses, they both find some success on the ground running, they keep it slow. We're going to be looking at unders on kind of like the receiving totals, receiving yards, receptions, maybe even pass attempts, things like that for these 2 teams. Now, if you think this thing kind of goes the other direction, it might be pretty easy to cash because these totals are already kind of low as it is out there. I'll be looking at some of the over totals just on the running backs, like running back receptions, running back yards, running back attempts, things like that, because I honestly think that both of these teams aren't going to get away from their game plans unless they are absolutely forced to do that. I mean, we've seen Seattle get down 10 points, 14 points in games and still just continue to run the ball. Pete Carroll just does not want to get away from that style of play. And so I'll be looking at that as far as that goes. So how are we going to go here as far as the bets here, guys? And listen, if you've been watching these videos along, and hopefully you have, if you've been subscribing, you know how this goes. When I see 2s and 2.5s, it's like an insta tease for me, right? I mean, it is, I have teasers connected to this game all over the place. I tease the Colts Texans, I've got the Colts +8. I got this +8.5 here for the Seattle Seahawks team. I just do not see either one of these teams blowing the other one out. I just cannot see that being a fact. I can see Seattle winning this thing outright, which is why I don't like teasing this thing the other direction. I tell you this though, I mean, look, you get it through the two key numbers, you get it through the 3, you get it through the 7. You're even, you can find, as we saw, as we were looking at the lines earlier, you're even getting it through the 8. Sometimes that hits on an 8 there. So you're getting this thing at 8.5, +8.5 here. You could tie this thing to tie this thing to the Chargers tomorrow if you wanted to tease them up to like 9, 8.5, 9, something like that. You could certainly do that. If you wanted to play a single game here, really, it just depends on how you think this thing is going to go. If you think it's going to be ugly as hell, then you could tease this thing up to Seattle +8.5 and then take the under, take that 42.5 up to 50.5. Do you think there's going to be 50.5 points scored in this game? Probably not. Or if you think, if you think that somehow this thing kind of gets kind of a little bit crazy here, or if you just think that number is just too damn low as it is anyway, of course you take 6 points off of that, and now you're down at 36.5. You could take the over there if you wanted to. But I mean, the big play for me, if I was just playing a side here, I still think I would lean to taking the points, even though it is kind of shy at 2.5 there for Seattle. But I just think this is going to be just kind of knock down, drag them out type of game. Again, always 2.5. So I always get it through those numbers up there, especially if I have games that I like to tie it to. And I did. I like to tie it to the Colts earlier. I like to tie it to the Chargers tomorrow as well in this thing. Guys, again, don't have to tail. Certainly can head the other way on this if you want to, but I wanted to give you some thoughts on how I think this thing might play out. Again, DKPicks.com. That is $35 absolutely free at DraftKings Sportsbook. And again, in the description below, click the link. We have a free contest, a free DFS contest tomorrow morning. Starts on DraftKings. The winner gets a $10,000 entry to the National Sports Betting Championship, along with some money so you can get over there and travel over there as well. I mean, this is an awesome, awesome thing. It's absolutely free. Thanks to our friends at DraftKings. And again, we just want to bring that to you. Again, I really appreciate the support for the channel here, guys. And again, in that comments below, give us a subscribe, hit us a little thumbs up on that thing, and then in the comments, let us know how you're going to play this game. See you guys tomorrow for all of the other NFL wildcard games.